How's it going? Welcome back to the Digital Health Podcast. My name is Anthony Virgo. I spent the last 7 years at a health tech startup. Now we're doing AI transformation with A Plus Active Services. I'm going to send it over to Kazar to introduce himself, and we have an amazing guest as well that we're going to go down and ask questions about here on the Digital Health Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another amazing episode of Digital Health Podcast. Let me introduce to the audience who are brand new to this podcast. So, I'm Khazar Shahid, and I have been working in the healthcare domain for quite a while. I just started with the dental practices, and then we collaborated together, and now we are kind of working with all the healthcare professionals, with physiotherapists, with psychologists, with counselors, with dentists. So it's a brief introduction about me. Now I'll kick it to Kyron.
My name's Kieran. I'm a counsellor over here in Northern Ireland. Spent most of my life in engineering, and for the last 5, 6 years, I've moved into counselling in the mental health field, working mostly with men. So that's where I'm at.
Got it. Thanks for your time today, and thanks for joining the podcast. So, really, the first question I like to ask people is, I usually like to go down memory lane in terms of how I got into the healthcare field, and I always say I got into the healthcare field by accident. I was a car salesman before, and then I got into healthcare, which are like two opposite sides of the spectrum. So I know you mentioned that, if I heard you correctly, you were an engineer prior to being a counselor. So what was that journey like? How did you kind of go from this engineering background that's whether either technical to now men's counseling or just counseling in general, which is more so now mental and dealing with wellness. What was that transition like, and how did you find yourself doing what you're doing today?
Well, like I say, I started off when I was 17, joined the Air Force, but all through my teenage years and my early adult life, I had a lot of mental health problems. 20 years ago, actually, I tried to take my own life, but thankfully, I'm still here to tell the tale. Um, Even carried on through engineering. It was when I was with the company Terex there for 6 years, an American company, but the place over here. And I was a mental health first aider in there. Really enjoyed it. And I seen an advert for a counselling course, and I thought that would be really useful skills to have alongside. I was a maintenance facilities manager for Terex, so went along, did the course. Even then, thinking that it would be just skills to learn, that I wouldn't actually end up in this field, because I kind of still thought I can't help people. I haven't figured myself out yet. Who am I to sit in that seat when I should be in the other seat?
Right.
But as I went through it, and I found that as I become more and more known as the guy, the mental health first aider and the trainee counsellor, there was more and more guys, even in the shop floor, coming up, chatting to me, opening up, wanting to talk. And it was a real good experience. And I realised, you know what, that's where I want to be. I want to be finishing up the week thinking I've helped some people this week, rather than maybe just making some more money for the shareholders. So it's been good.
That's amazing. That's a great like kind of segue in terms of you using yourself as an example to now support people, and thank you for sharing your story. But I think I always say it does take like people who's walked the path to kind of support people for sure. I think what you're doing in terms of like just counseling on the behavioral health side. There's so many, and even speaking men specifically, I think therapy in general is just the whole taboo in itself. But for men to be open to therapy and to open up and, you know, like you say, helping them navigate stress and burnout and stuff like that. It's we kind of just put things on our back and just move forward with life. So in your experience, how have, what is it about supporting men and men therapy that really drives you in that sense?
It's funny when I've been looking at it, because now that I'm setting up my own private practice,
Okay.
and it's that kind of wanting to stand out, and looking at it and thinking about it, I wanted to be the guy that I needed all those
Mm,
years ago, the guy that I could have spoke to. I remember when I was young, like young, talking about in my early 20s, a few times when I did open up, I would get the same messages of, oh, you just need to man up, or it's not that bad, or, and that, those kind of stuck with me and it kept me quiet for a long time. Um, but now, I mean, there's a lot more conversation about it now, but
right.
still, guys still have that kind of, you have to just keep on moving forward, like you say, just brave it out. But I've seen people want to talk, men want to talk, if they can see someone that's open to it, someone that's going to listen, then they will open up. And
Right.
I was invited up actually 2 weeks ago there to the Terex male workplace, and I gave a talk on men's mental health, well, mental health, and I told my own story and some things about the things that can pile up day to day and start to weigh you down. And it's not always the one. For me, it was always, I struggled on and struggled on until I had a crisis. Then I went and got help, fixed that, and then I struggled on again. Um, but it was really interesting to have like a room full of 50, 60 men, have them all listening. And afterwards, I had a few of them come up and say, look, what you said really, really resonated, and can I have a chat with you? And then they started to open up things like, I've never told anybody this before. So they want to talk. It's just getting that, being that safe place and that safe space where they feel like they're able.
Right. Right. So how do you, I guess in your experience, how do you create that safe space? If there was like, if me, for example, if if you know somebody, or maybe you cross paths with anybody, whether it's your day to day or someone might refer someone to you who might not be open to therapy at this point, what are some things some people should look for in terms of like finding the right therapist or being open to actually seeking some type of counseling, whether it's just a sit down session. It doesn't have to necessarily go further than, that, but what do you say to people who are, to men specifically, who are kind of reluctant to get in counseling and probably never did it before, and not open? What would your advice be to them?
Just to try it. Funny, I've said like over the years, I've seen lots of different counsellors. Over here, the kind of the way it was you could go to the doctor and the doctor would refer you on. You get 6 sessions.
Right.
Even through the workplace, the EAP, you would get 6 sessions. So I had lots of different experiences with lots of different counsellors,
Right.
and I had different experiences with them all. Some were better than the others, but I never walked away from the experience thinking, you know what, that was a waste of my time. I wish I hadn't done it.
Right.
I always took something from it. So I'd say to them, go try it. Um, it's not about turning up on day one and telling everything that's going on. I believe you have to build a wee bit of rapport, a wee bit of, you have to get along with the person. And once that comes, then you start to feel more comfortable. Then everything else will start to come after it. And if you go and the first one you don't get along with, don't give up. There's plenty out there. Lots of them will offer maybe like a 15 minute, I do like a 15-minute consultation, get on the phone for free, have a chat, see if you're feeling it, and just try it. It's literally nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Definitely, definitely. I think that, yeah, that's amazing, especially like the don't give up part. Because I know someone could maybe like be so reluctant to open it up, and then they go and maybe have a bad experience, and then that kind of kills their entire, dreams of even opening up or trying things. So I appreciate you even saying that, like, it's for, especially for men, right? Like we have to maybe try a few times to get it right. Even with myself, even for, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a primary care doctor, whether it's a dentist, I usually, I go through phases with certain people. Like I gotta fill them out. I gotta make sure,
Yeah.
like, we can joke and laugh in the office. We have good rapport. I always look for stuff like that. Like if I could naturally just talk to my provider or my doctor, then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be coming to you forever. if their attitude is like not receptive to me, then I'm like, you know what? Let me just try someone else or go to a different office. So that's a good thing to put that, for men especially, like, just because the first time didn't go well, the second time could be the best time. So never really give up on that path. One thing that we've noticed, especially some of our clients on the AI side of things that we incorporate things for, especially in behavioral health, that certain people are reluctant to new technology or technology that's coming down the pipeline, AI being one of them. So when we talk to a lot of counselors or behavioral health specialists or psychiatrists, we're maybe having two separate conversations. There's people that are for AI, forward thinking, oh, it's innovative, we can use it to do X, Y, and Z. And then there's other people that's like, AI is gonna take my job, and they're stressed about it. You can tell that they're stressed about it. It's affecting them, mentally in some way, shape, or form, almost. So from your experience, have you heard about any technology or what's going on in your industry where it's kind of shaking things up, or do you have any input on AI inside of the counseling space?
I think AI is everywhere. It's we're not getting away from it. I've used it myself. I think it's a fantastic tool. But like any tool, it's how you use it and how you respect it. And I've heard of different things like coming in AI note taking and things like that. I'm not sure if that's for me, but I use it on the side. I've used it to help me with different things, like I say, as a tool for help me with coming up with ideas for social media, or even like when it comes to tax time, asking questions that I don't know. It's a fantastic tool for
Right.
that. And even as regards clients, I think clients, people coming in, are a lot more informed because you can put anything in the AI and it'll answer you. So I definitely think there's a place for it. It just needs to be careful, I suppose, how we use it.
Right, right, one thousand
Not be
percent.
afraid of it.
I think you're right. Like even you mentioning that you're using it in your day to day, not just for work. We always tell the providers, like, our first question when people are like, well, AI is going to take my job, or we're against AI. I was like, well, how often do you use it on your day to day outside of work? Right. Me, myself, I kind of even talk to like my chat GPT like a counselor, because I'm able to just feed it information and like talk and brainstorm. I think for me, it's really great with like brainstorming, like
Yeah.
content, right? Something like a podcast or something like, notes, where I just need to get my thoughts out. And sometimes sometimes I feel like I'm actually talking to a counselor when I'm talking to ChatGPT at times. So I can see the benefit in that way and just affecting like my day to day. Because there's times where I have a session with my AI tool and I feel better afterwards. You know what I mean? Just by debriefing, talking. I even do it for sales calls. Like I said, I have a sales background before this, and sales is like a skill that I feel like everyone should have, no way, shape, or form. So sometimes I do drills with my with my chat GPT, like, hey, pretend that I'm selling you a car and X, Y,
Yeah.
and Z, just so I can get some training in there. So I think AI is like really good in different aspects outside of work, and then when you actually once you're able to kind of touch and feel it outside of work and get used to it, inside of work it becomes amazing tool, easy to use when you're like interacting and stuff like that. I'll say what we do and how we set up a lot of our AI tools. Um, for those of the people, like, if there's any listeners out there that's on the side where they're not for AI and it's taking our job, I always say look for people who are specialized in that specific form of AI. So I come from like the health tech background, so I can speak to, hey, how automation or how an agent could support clinical staff in some way, shape, or form. But I'm not gonna run into maybe a hotel and say, hey, you need an AI tool. That's like, hospitality is not even my lane. You know what I mean? Same with Kazar, maybe your dentistry. he's going to dentist, and he has experience in the dentist field. So those are the people who are like expertise in these fields. In your opinion, Karen, what, because I think going back to like the men's aspect of things, being that we're not so open to therapy in general, AI might be a thing that some people are not open to, or even the idea of talking to a agent isn't like ideal. Like, I already don't even talk to a person. Why would I talk to an agent? I guess so. Is there any best practices or things that you did that got you integrated with AI? Is it just you practicing, or you just downloading the app and then seeing what it could do? How did you actually get savvy in it, and how do you suggest other people do the same?
It's yeah, like I've always been pretty good with tech
Mhm.
and try to keep up, but like I say I use it as a tool. Um, I don't, I don't think I'm not sure how the privacy and everything else and confidentiality is, so I don't put anything in there client wise, no confidential information, none of that. It's literally it's a very useful tool. To me, I suppose how I remember it is before, like I would always said I'd nearly a black belt in Google. I used to be really good. If I was looking for something, I would put it in, and if I didn't get what I was wanting for, I'd rephrase the question and change it, and I could always, where AI is almost shortcutted that. So you can just stick it in and it'll spit stuff back at you, and then you can ask questions. You can look at it different ways. So I think it's a very useful tool in that sense. So yeah,
And Karen, how do you see the general trend of AI in the physiotherapy, specifically in the UK? Like, when you see the other physiotherapists, are they readily embracing the AI, or are they kind of reluctant to AI? They think of it uh, as the tool who can replace them. How do you see the general trend of AI in the UK specifically in the physiotherapy?
there's a lot of chat about AI taking over therapy and stuff. And again, I can see the draw for people to ask it questions, but you don't get the same. You don't get the challenge from AI. Kind of tells you what you want to hear. I think it's a great place, like you were saying, see for just emptying what's in your head. Like that's something I recommend to my clients, even between sessions. If they find it difficult to talk to people, write it down. If anything you can do to get it out of your head helps to process it. Um, so, but again, as far as for counsellors using it, a lot of them may be using it, but again, as a tool on the side, not necessarily within therapy yet. I have heard of like note taking and stuff, but again, because of what therapy and counseling is, because it's such an intimate, personal, private conversation,
Right.
it's 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 the ethical side of putting that information into an external platform, be it an AI, the privacy. That's where the issues are. That's where the
Right.
problem is. That trust issue is of okay, yeah, you put your information in there, but then where does that end up? And if there's a breach or whatever down the road, who ends up getting that information? So that's why I think it has a place alongside therapy as a tool. But I don't see how I bring it into the sessions, like the one-to-one sessions. I don't see that at the minute, and that's right now. But who knows what the future is?
Right. Right. So we talked about a few things where you know someone could maybe help with like burnout or stress using AI. Like I said, I talk to AI like a therapist almost, or just to get ideas out. And you just mentioned maybe journaling. What are some other ways that men should seek? What are some activities or anything that you would recommend to help with stress, to help with like burnout, to help with Just maybe if somebody just woke up on the wrong side of bed, how do you stay grounded, or how do you suggest other people stay grounded in their situations?
It starts with awareness. I suppose it starts with, even funny, I put a post up there today. We'll get into this feeling of the daily grind, and you're getting up every day and it's a struggle. You might be living for the weekend, these things piling up behind you. But it can be the daily stresses of home life, money, work, the news, social media, all of these things can start to layer up. And before you realize it, you're kind of overwhelmed or overloaded, and something can come along, and that's the thing that can maybe knock you off kilter. So if you are starting to feel like you've got a shorter fuse, you're tired all the time, maybe you're coming home at night and you're just zoning out on the sofa, on your phone, watching TV, struggling with your relationships at home, it's starting to say, right, okay, well, I notice a change in myself here.
Hmm.
I don't have to, or this is different than what it was before. And once you have that, then okay, so we'll start to look, right, well, what's going on? If you can bring that awareness. So if you get your journal or a bit of paper or your notes app on your phone, right, what's going on? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? Right, okay. Because once you start to get out of your head and then you start to see the different things, then you can start to say, well, what can I do about this thing? Right, okay, what can I do about this thing? And then you can start to work through it. Another one is communication. Communication's key. And if you struggle to talk, what I'll always say to people is start small. If you've got a friend or someone you can open to, just pick up the phone, send them a message. And it doesn't have to be everything all at once. Just start with whatever feels like what you can do. Like, I'm having a bad day, I'm having a bad week. Just start small, but once you start to open up that conversation bit by bit, then hopefully you can start to expand on it. And then again, if there's anything that's worked for you in the past and you enjoy, be it sports, meditation, anything like that, anything that gets you a bit of movement, a bit of headspace, get you off the phone, off the sofa, anything.
Hey, Karen, I was just going through your LinkedIn, and I just saw that you are giving the online therapy sessions. So how is it different from face to face face to face therapy sessions? Like, uh, is it that much effective? Like, I mean, giving the online therapy sessions, is it that much effective? Like giving the one to one or therapy sessions?
There's there's lots of I think there's research out there. There's different things. I think they're both that can be as effective as each other, but then different people like different things. Some
Right.
people do enjoy, right, well, this is my therapy session. I want to go to that place and sit down with that person. And they might not get as much out of the online as others. Other people, like I'll say, your therapy, you can do it everywhere, anywhere, sorry. If you've got a good internet connection, a phone, if you get somewhere private, you can speak and you can literally sit yourself down 5, 10 minutes before your session, and when you're finished, you get on about your day. Um, so it's different for different people, and again, but the beauty about online is it opens up the world. Like for me, I can work with anyone within the UK and beyond. Anyone that speaks English can I can work with. If you're looking for somebody local, then you're just looking at your local area, obviously. So I think there's pros and cons to both. And if somebody's out there and they're thinking what works best for me, try them. Try them out and see what
And
works.
And are the clients or patients equally open on the online sessions as they are in the physical therapy sessions?
There was some um, research or information that actually says that they can almost be more open online because there's that kind of distance. It can bring down almost inhibition quicker, so they can talk about things that are maybe more personal quicker. But again, everybody's different. It's not one size fits all. So
Got it. Pretty much like starting where someone's comfortable at, whether in person or online. I think, I think my first session was like online as well, my first ever session. So, which I feel comfortable, or just I think I feel comfortable whether on a laptop or in person. But for me, for someone else, they might want that human connection in the room, face to
Yeah.
face and stuff like that. So I have two last questions for you, Karen, here. So one, where's the best way for people to connect with you, whether it's for a free consultation or just to ask you questions? What's the best channel for people to reach out to you? And then what's one powerful message that you want to leave the listeners with before we end the session today?
So you can find me on my website, www.kieranbarretttherapy.com. On there you'll find links to my socials, but you'll also find my booking window down at the bottom where you can book in for a 15-minute free consultation. Get in touch with me through there, or my email's there, phone number's there, whatever you need. Um, and one powerful message, the one that keeps coming up to me lately, is don't wait. Don't wait until you're in crisis. When I've been doing these talks, I've been reflecting on my own life, and I think that's the biggest thing I've learned. Is I spent so much of my 20s and 30s struggling, and I felt like life was just struggle. You just work and you struggle, and that was it. And I always waited until I hit that brick wall. Then I'd reach out and I'd go to therapy, and it'd be great, but then I'd struggle on again. Where if I could have went sooner, I maybe could have improved my quality of life. So don't wait.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So, just want to say thank you again for joining the Digital Health Podcast. Thanks the listeners for joining in. This has been an amazing episode. A lot of value, especially for men out there who need some counseling, need to talk to someone to really just try it out. So, if you're not going to try it out yourself, I hope this podcast is helping you to actually make that step and, book a consultation call with Karen for sure, or whoever you need to in your area to make you feel comfortable. So thank you guys so much again from the Digital Health team. We'll see you in the next episode.